Welcome back to talkSPORT End Zone, talkSPORT's dedicated NFL YouTube channel with myself, Will Varney. And look, it might be the off season, but there's plenty of content to keep you up across on the channel. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave us your interactions as well. Leave us a comment. We'd love to see what your thoughts are on the work that we're doing this off season. And look, the big name guests just keep on rolling this off season. It's an absolute pleasure to say back on home turf, a native from London. He's here. It's the New York Giants offensive tackle, Jermaine Eluemeor. He joins us. Jermaine, how are you, my man?
Great. Appreciate you having me on.
Really appreciate you joining us. I just wanted to start by talking about today and how special days are like today for you. You're in Birmingham. It's your third consecutive camp with the NFL Foundation UK. The great work that they do in providing opportunities to young children. How special are moments like these when you get to come back across the pond and see the impact that the game is having here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I look forward to, the season, but the thing I look forward to even more is getting to come back home and spread this game and just give these kids something to look forward to. And, these camps are the best part of my year where I can come back and just feel like a kid again running around. It's kind of like when I first got into the game when I was with the London Blitz, just running around doing drills and just trying to gain more knowledge of the sport and the rules and everything like that. So for me, this is definitely one of the best parts of my year. Just like I said, just coming back, just being able to branch out and just play this game.
Well, the first game you watched was back in 2007, that game here in the UK, the very first one, the Dolphins taking on the Giants. And now you are the Giants right tackle, starting right tackle. It must feel like a real full circle moment for you.
Yeah, it was weird. I didn't truly think about that until probably like 2, 3 weeks after I signed with them. I was thinking about it and just how that was the first team I ever watched play, and then now I'm with this team and I'm starting for them, and my career is truly taking off, and just all the things I went into getting to where I'm at right now. But playing for the New York Giants, one of the biggest teams, I think the biggest team in the league, um, it's truly a blessing, and I think that playing for that franchise is only going to help me do what I want to do in the future, which is spread this game over here in England and make it as big as possible and give more kids the opportunity to get to where I was at and just give them an avenue to get over to the States and play this game.
Absolutely. And like you say, when people see a positive role model like yourself, it inspires them to, have those opportunities potentially in the future. You mentioned there the Giants being what you believe one of the biggest teams in the NFL. With that will come, of course, expectations. So obviously last season was a real disappointment, I can imagine, around the whole organization. What were your overall reflections now that you've had some time to sort of let the dust settle, the off season that we're in right now?
I'm if I'm anything, I'm realistic and I'm very just real. Obviously, last season was good enough, and it doesn't matter how I played. Like I could have played really well, but as a team, we weren't that good at all. So, it's higher expectations for that franchise and for the fan base, and I know they deserve better, and we have to be a lot better, right, on both sides of the ball, offense, defense, and special teams. And I think we truly will this season. But it starts with offensive line, and obviously we had some moving pieces, like me having to play two positions. My right guard Greg having to play two positions, then losing AT. I think 7 weeks into the season, then Runyon going down, and then Jameis going down. So, the injury bug definitely messed with us last year, but AT's looking a lot better this year. I think Runyon should come back great. Schmitty, our center's back, and then obviously I get my right guard back, GVR, who I've played with for 3 seasons now, one in Vegas, and this will be our second together in New York. So, we definitely have the chemistry with each other. And I think that, we'll be a pretty damn good offensive line this year as long as we can all stay healthy, knock on wood, hopefully. But I think that we'll be I think we'll definitely be a top 10 offensive line this year because we'll work hard, we're talented. And, whoever's back there playing quarterback will be really well protected. And, they'll be able to do their thing. Defense will do their thing because we got Dexter back as well. And, they're really hungry, a bunch of young people on the team. And I think bringing in a guy like Russell is only going to help because I think we kind of lacked that true veteran leadership last year. Part of it, but bringing a guy in like that is only going to help mold this team together and bring the young guys along because I think last season we were the youngest team in the NFL. So we definitely have a lot of young guys that could use leadership like Russell and Jameis. So I think those two are going to be real huge signings for us and help this team win a lot of games this year.
You mentioned there about keeping it real, and it felt like a lot of players in that locker room were very honest at the end of that season in terms of how it transpired. People saying it was soft, the lacking effort levels. I just wondered at the end of that season, was there any honest conversations between you as players, between you and the coaching staff with Coach Dable about almost resetting and setting a fresh standard ahead of a new season with a fresh approach?
Say that every season's a fresh start. Everyone starts 0-0. So, we're all, the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl, but we're the same as them this year. The Kansas City Chiefs made it to the Super Bowl, but we're all the same right now. And, no one knows how the season's going to go. No one knows who's going to win the Super Bowl, get to the playoffs. Have a losing record, be the first pick in the draft in 2026. So no one knows at all. But, yeah, we were definitely real with each other because when you go 3-14, obviously some tough conversations have to happen. And, me being me and being one of the older guys on the team and people looking to me for some sort of leadership and, being in the position I was in, I think that it's on me and some of the older guys to truly, like I said, like the Russells, the ATs, and everyone else, like the Dexters, the Bobby O's, and all those guys on the team to truly push this team to where they need to be and where we deserve to be and where this franchise should be. So I think it'll be a great season, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Like you said, we don't really know what's going to happen at the quarterback position. Russell Wilson's come in, Jameis as well, and that's great. Like you mentioned, veteran leadership that this team will need. I just wondered from your perspective there, you mentioned that sort of you being a veteran, an older guy who people can come to and speak to. If we were to see a rookie quarterback come into this organization, which could potentially happen, a lot of conversations have happened in the Giants building with these quarterbacks. How is that process for you dealing with a rookie quarterback in terms of, scheme, making sure that a player is able to be comfortable in this offense coming in from college? Because there is a real leap, isn't there, between college and the NFL game? What would that role be like for you in being one of these older guys and helping support them?
Think that it just puts a little bit more pressure on our offensive line, obviously, because we have to go out there and truly make sure that he feels comfortable. If it is a young guy, I mean, it doesn't really matter who it is back there. We have to make sure they feel comfortable, but especially if it's a young guy back there, a lot of emphasis is going to be on the offensive line, especially me and AT playing left and right tackle, and just offensive line as a whole. So for us, we have to be at our best and truly go out there and dominate, which we plan on doing. I know AT's hungry. I'm definitely hungry to hopefully play the entire season at right tackle, which I will, and just be two of the best in the league, which we plan on being. So I think whoever's back there is going to be real comfortable with having us on the edges and having the guys inside too, knowing that we plan on and will be one of the best lines in the league.
Final couple of questions from me. Really appreciate your time, Jermaine. I wanted to ask you about one of really the standout players on that offense last year in Malik Nabers and the impact that he had coming in. I just wanted to get a bit of insight from yourself as to what you saw from Malik coming into the league. I mentioned that leap from college to the NFL. It's a lot harder than people really imagine it to be. But for him to have that impact, to break franchise records, what do you see from him week in, week out, and how special can he be in this league?
I already think he's a top five receiver. He's talented as hell. Even some of the catches he made in practice, like I don't think we've seen or the naked eye seeing what he should be capable of, especially because there was so much turnover at the quarterback position last year. And him having the season he had, especially playing with four different quarterbacks, that just shows how talented he is. But I think this year, getting consistency back there and having one guy play the entire season, which we will, people will truly see how talented he is. And it wouldn't surprise me if he's the number one receiver in the NFL this year, just because he has that much talent. And eventually, he will be the number one guy in the NFL. Up there with I think he's already up there with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and the AJ Browns of the world. So I think this year he's going to be even better and not only pick up from where he left off last season, but take it to a whole new level.
Finally, just touching on the draft that's coming up next week, I wanted to ask you about your experience in the draft. We always find it so fascinating when we see players enter this process. You were a fifth round pick out of Texas A&M. Just that moment, I wanted to know about that process and then that moment when you were finally selected when it was with the Baltimore Ravens. Is it almost a relief when that moment comes around and that whole process of whether it's, pro days and the combine, all that stress is gone and then you've been selected and you know where you're going to be heading to?
It's a relief for about a day, and then you wake up the next day, you're like, okay, what do I have to do to make sure I stick in the league? Because obviously the league average for a career in the NFL is about 2.7 to 3 years. So you have to figure out quickly what you have to do in order to make sure you have a long, lengthy career and you have actually get on the field, become a starter, and show the team that you're invaluable and they can't replace you. So for me, it was just doing the research on what I need to do to be better, what I need to do to become that player that I want to be, that I am right now. And not only that, but keep getting better every single year. Because the older you get in the league, the more they want to replace you, and the more you have to show them that you're irreplaceable. And so for me, it was relief. It was, this is really cool getting drafted, but okay, next day wake up. Okay, now I'm drafted. Now the work truly begins in staying in the league and staying in the league for as long as I want and retiring on my terms. I don't want the league to choose when I retire or kick me out. I want to retire on my own terms, walk away, and know that I did everything I want to in this league, and I'm walking away, myself. I'm not having, the coaches cut me off the gym saying, "Hey, you ain't got nothing left. I'm going to release you." Like I want to be able to play as long as I want, and then I can walk away and, like I said, walk away on my own terms, which I think only about 10, 12% of the league actually gets to do. So that's
Is that the piece of advice you'd give to these? We're seeing a lot of offensive tackles potentially going in the first round, but it's for quite a deep class. Is that the one piece of advice then you would give to these guys ahead of coming into the league?
Yeah, I would say just because you're drafted doesn't mean you make it. Obviously, being a first, second round pick, you have a longer leash than being a third to the seventh rounder. But nowadays, you're seeing a lot of first round picks just kind of phase out a little bit just because they come in after being fed by a silver spoon, and I think that a lot of them come in a little cocky, and they get out there and it's not the same, especially playing on the offensive line. It's hard, especially with these guys who you're going against, especially at tackle. These guys are getting better and better and better, lighter and quicker and stronger. Like Micah Parsons, like apparently now there's multiple of him. Like this kid coming out Penn State, Abdul Carter, looks like a Michael Parsons freaking clone. So, and that's what these guys are looking like now. So you have to truly be confident. You have to truly be have the correct mindset to come in and truly know that what you have to do in order to play and dominate this sport. But yeah, I would just say, look, just because you got drafted doesn't mean you made it. If you want to, you don't truly feel like you've made it until you retire on your own terms and you look back and say, okay, I made it. If you walk into the league the first day say I've made it, then you already set yourself up for failure, in my opinion.
Well, Jermaine, really, really appreciate your time. As always, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us on talkSPORT Endzone. All the best for the upcoming season. We look forward to seeing how it all plays out.
Appreciate it.